Hello everyone, please press subscribe, press follow, press the bell so you don't miss any new clips. Adorable treasured fox divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Author by Co. Chi Yi. Audio novels by Novelist. Chapter 261, If you are sick then hurry and go get it looked at 3. Likely worried over the intent of the demon beast sect, Ruo's complexion wasn't at her best still. Nevertheless, she controls her patience and answered the boy's question. Be good my son, they are all extras your grandfather found to match you. Without their matching, how can your exemplary talent be accentuated? Then what about Bai Xiakan? Asked Nangong Lin with his disgruntled voice. Collecting herself, Bai Ruo softly replied with a smile, how can the likes of him be comparable to you? Even if he does come, it will only be to support your existence. You don't need to have him in your eyes. For the fat child, the one he hated the most had to be Bai Xiakan. Therefore, it's expected he would be pleased to hear such downgrading comments about his enemy. Mother, you are right. How can the likes of him be a match for me? I'm the overlord of this world and he is but a useless trash. I will have him kneel before me and lick my feet one day. Towards her son's pompous statement, Bai Ruo could only make an absent-minded chuckle. She's still worried about today's event it seems. I hope it's true the demon beast sect is only doing this as a show. If they find out the truth, then my fate. Mother, why did Baddie father not come with us? A sudden remark from the front had brought Bai Ruo back to reality. Looking up, the first image to come into the woman's view was a cutesy figure looking back and forth for a person. It was Bai Xiakan, seemingly disappointed that his father wasn't around to be with him. Gently stroking her son's head, Bai Yan comforts the child. Your father said he has a surprise waiting for us so he will come later. Blinking his big innocent eyes, Bai Xiakan was still puzzled over the remark when a loud commotion grabbed his attention. Ah! The sharp resounding cry literally shook the air, catching the gaze of everyone present. It was Xuanhuan confronting someone. While the scream originated from the troublesome lass, the victim here wasn't Daikang's sister, it was the young lady in front of her. Drenched from top to bottom in filthy water, it's obvious someone had just splashed feces and urine on this person. Mother, it looks like Auntie is causing trouble again. Instead of worry, the baby boy was full of optimism like someone enjoying a good show. Let's go see. Bai Yan's complexion literally sank as she pulled her son forward, which directly sent the troublesome girl into a panic. Sister-in-law, Xuanhuan nervously greets the mother and son pair after noticing their presence. Sister-in-law. The way the troublesome girl addressed Bai Yan clearly roused the crowd's attention even further, but it was the bad kind filled with disdain and contempt. Others feared the flower brothel for their strength, but the young girl being drenched in dirty water wouldn't care for that anymore. Seething in rage, the girl roars out, I thought you would be loyal to Daikang at least. Apparently I was wrong. You even brought your new lover's sister along for the trip. How abominable can you get? What are you talking about? Xuanhuan was angered now. Glaring daggers in her eyes, she roars back, Daikang is my brother. Ho ho, as if Lord Kang would have a sister like you when he's so capable. You think we would fall for your lies? The young girl sneered, mocking her foe in the process. Exploding with flames burning above her head, Xuanhuan was ready to teach the girl another lesson when a frosty gaze stopped her in her tracks. Tell me what happened, Bai Yan demanded. Remember when Yi, Xuanhuan and I went out to make trouble around the city? She's one of the many girls victimized by us. For that, she tried to splash manure water over me just now as payback. But instead of succeeding, I blocked it and sent it back to her. Sister. After her explanation, Xuanhuan instantly devolved into a pitiful child seeking forgiveness. You wouldn't be angry with me, would you? Chapter 262, If you are sick then hurry and go get it looked at 4. Angry. Bai Yan literally laughed. It was a bone-chilling laugh that made Xuanhuan shiver there like her existence was shrinking with each passing second. Then without premonition, Bai Yan abruptly shot a somersaulting kick out to send the young dirty girl flying. Do you see that? Extra words are not needed for dealing with these kind of people. If you end up killing them, then you can come find me. I will deal with the aftermath. Xuanhuan was literally stupefied there with shock. Unable to recover for the longest time, her beautiful eyes could only ogle at her idol there like a starstruck fan. She's already used to seeing how ruthlessness her brother can be, but to see how cool her sister-in-law was at dealing with the enemy, words can no longer describe the excitement and emotions coursing through her veins. Her heart wanted to explode from how heavy it was thumping. The poor girl had wanted to yell again after crawling up from the ground. However, she was stopped by her maid that's urgently whispering into her ears. Miss, she is the mistress of the flower brothel and Lord Kang's woman. If you do anything to offend her and your father the Chancellor finds out, he will surely be very upset with you. Choking at her own frustration, the young woman didn't know where else to vent her anger at this point. Turning back to the maid, she was seething with fire in her voice. Who told you to be so nosy? Despite that attitude, the girl no longer dared to cause a commotion because the maid had hit the bullseyes. She's afraid her father would beat her once she's home. Ellipsis. Sister, I just knew you would come. It was then another voice had chimed in from the back that raised goosebumps across the recipient's body. Not getting a reply as she wanted, Bairuo swings the talk in another direction by lowering her eyes and shaking her head like she's disappointed with her sister. In truth, you shouldn't have come in the first place. Your son will only be an extra to support my son Lin. Now that does it. Pricking her brow at the statement, Yan wasn't going to take that lying down. Is that so? From what I hear, your son nearly got killed when he tried to tame a wolf. So are you implying he's able to tame a wolf now and is seeking a new challenge by taming a demon beast? Startled by the mockery, Bairuo grew anxious in her voice. Demon beast? What do you mean by that? Even if she ignored the strange remark about taming a demon beast, Bairuo can't just ignore the fact that her sister here knew about that event. She made sure to order those involved to seal their lips. What do I mean? Why don't you take a guess? Giving a shrug with her shoulders, Yan turns away without looking back at the foolish woman. There's no way Bairuo could ignore this after hearing something so strange. Just as she's ready to go confront her sister again, her son Nangonglin had already jumped off the sedan to come before his counterpart Bai Xiakan. Knocking his fat oily face up, the bully proudly makes his claim. Bai Xiakan, my mother said it already. You are only here to be an extra for me. Know that I will one day be the lord of the animals in this world, so you must obey me. From now on, whenever you see me you must get on your knees, you hear me? Irritated by the rudeness, Bai Xiakan only had this to say in his reply. My mother told me I mustn't get too close to imbeciles, otherwise I might get infected too. Imbecile. Nangonglin was so confused by the statement that he had to look around in search of said imbecile. Where is the imbecile? It's me who's talking to you, are you listening or what? Sighing at the idiocy of his foe, the little steam bun could only lament the cruelty of this world by shaking his head. If you are sick, then it's best you get it checked early on, otherwise your brain will really be screwed in the future. No matter how dumb Nangonglin was, there's no way he can miss that when it's so direct. Ready to punch his foe with his fat little fist, it was his mother Bairuo who stopped him by pulling the boy back. Don't be impulsive, my son, your father is not around to protect us at the moment. Wait until he returns from talking with your grandfather, then we can deal with this brat. Insulted by her mother's unwillingness to help, Nangonglin became all teary in his eyes. Why must I fear this bastard? I am the overlord of this world and the animals that live in it. Mother, behave yourself. Just wait, okay? Once you are the direct disciple of the demon beast sect, then none will be a match for you then. At that time, you can deal with anyone as you please. While Bairuo continues to comfort her son to keep him out of trouble, that flicker of crookedness cannot be hidden from her eyes. It's obvious she's not going to let anyone ruin her son's future. Chapter 263, Start of the Taming Session 1. His Majesty the King is entering. The sudden sharp announcement from the distance instantly calms the rowdiness. It was the king and his son Nangongyi coming out from the main hall. Apart from the two, there were also another elder that had the air of a divine senior who instantly caught the eyes of everyone. Wife. After leaving a few words to his father, Nangongyi hurried over to his wife to explain. Father already told me why this is happening. It's the demon beast sect trying to verify the chosen one by holding a public taming session. Public taming. Upon hearing this, Bai Ruo's very tongue was shivering with fear. Her mind instantly recalled the message Bai Yan said just now. So he's able to tame a wolf. That's why he's here to tame a demon beast. In other words, Bai Yan knew from the very beginning why the demon beast sect was here. You need not worry, my wife. Our son Lin is the ruler of the animals. He will be in no danger. Mistaking the nervousness portrayed by his wife as a mother's worry, Nangongyi only smiled confidently. Besides, he's already big enough now. It's time he gained some experience and embraced his destiny. Instead of getting the reaction like he expected, Bai Ruo's complexion only got worse. But didn't the demon beast sect already confirm our son's identity? Why are they doing this now? Husband, can we not have Lin participate? I'm afraid for him. No, I won't, screamed Nangong Lin with his pouting face. I am the lord of the animals, so how can they hurt me? I will make him obey, and then I will have them eat that bastard by Xiakan. Lin. Now the woman's anxiousness was right out in the open. She never imagined the demon beast sect would pull something like doing a public taming session. This wasn't in her plan or expectation. All right, enough. Don't worry, my wife, Lin will not be in danger. Still showing his confident smile, Nangongyi won't have it any other way. I believe in my son, he will surely wow the world with his greatness. I will have Bai Yan understand her son is nothing compared to ours. Towards the blatant disregard for others in their conversation, Xuanhuan naturally didn't miss a single line. First giving a glare at the man, then turning back to Bai Yan, she pleads, Sister-in-law, can I beat him? You can. Raising a smirk, Bai Yan had no restraint for that request, but you must wait until the event is over first. I will deal with the aftermath if you kill him. Brightening at the answer, Xuanhuan was so pleased over the fact that there's someone to shroud her. Even if she goes out to make trouble now, her brother can't say a word because she now got consent to do so. What's that smell? Nangong Yuan King suddenly wrinkled his brow at the foul odor. Turning to the source, what came into view was the dignified daughter of his chancellor covered in feces and urine. How did you end up like that? Hurry and retreat this instant. What if you end up offending Elder Thunder here? The teenage girl wanted to cry, but she stuffed it back in the second she noticed the murderous eyes coming her way from everyone. Gnashing her teeth, she can do no other but to leave. Elder Thunder, the king turns back to the senior, we can start now. Ugh, cold and indifferent in his tune, the elder gives his consent. Someone come, bring the cage over. Without delay, a group of well-muscled guards had brought out a huge cage from behind. It was the very same one covered with the red fabric. Today, I am here to verify the identity of the destined child regarding the animal worship incident. Whoever can domesticate this demon beast shall be the lord of the animals. Upfront about his intent for coming, Elder Thunder was loud and majestic in his voice during the announcement. In a flash, looks of envy and jealousy were all shooting over to Nangongyi's family, especially at the fat child who was gloating up to his nose. Chapter 264, Start of the Taming Session 2. It's no wonder the Bai house claimed they had clung onto a large power, turns out to be the demon beast sect. The world had practically recognized the fatty Nangong Lin as the one who caused that miracle, therefore, it's no surprise to the people that the demon beast sect would be here. As for the public taming session, anyone can see it's but a show. Nangongyi was seriously relishing in the attention that he was getting, especially the envious looks coming his way. Rubbing his son's head proudly, son, you mustn't let me down, okay? Father, can I go now to tame the beast? The fatty's expression was full of anticipation and pride when he glanced over to his foe. Sadly for him, Bai Xiakan wasn't even looking at him. Rather, the little steam has had his eyes entirely focused on the cage. He's clearly more interested in whatever was inside than the fatty. Wait. Seeing how her son was readily heading over to the cage, Bairuo reflexively stretched out her hand to grab the boy back over. Pursing her lips, "Son, you should wait. As the main star of the show, you must wait until the end to showcase how exceptional you are." "Yes, mother, you are right." Nodding at the woman's suggestion, "I'm the most important person here, so I should be making my grand entrance at the end. These lowborns are all extras to support me. Only with their failure will it bring out my exceptionality." Wah! The gasps and outcry had come as a result of the fabric being removed from the cage. It was a huge dragon inside. 8 meters in length with 4 limbs and 3 pairs of wings, this fierce and ferocious-looking serpent was growling menacingly at the human crowd before it. "Who will come first?" Indifferent in his voice, the elder sounded like he's attempting to calm the people with his nonchalance. Apparently it worked because a child soon stepped forward of their own volition at the caged dragon. But before the boy could get even close enough to confront the creature, the glass dragon had already issued out a ferocious roar that scared the daylights out of the poor brat. "I'm scared, mother, I want to go home." The child falls into a monstrous cry. Looking at how frightened the first contender was, Elder Thunder can only shake his head at the poor display of courage. Next one. There may be a lot of children under the age of 5 in this kingdom, but to be able to get close to the glass dragon was nearly non-existent today. Most would falter and cry just by being glared at by the creature. By this point the elder was increasingly disappointed. This was especially when there's only 2 children remaining at this point. Seeing this horrible situation, the old senior had a serious urge to interrogate the king over whether he's hiding some candidates. Naturally Xuanhuan King wouldn't miss the disgruntled look coming his way. Hurrying to beckon his grandson to come, he waves the boy over. "What are you still standing there for, Lin? Come over now." Startled by the holler, Xuanhuan meekly muttered back, "But Bai Shiakan still hasn't gone yet. Hurry up and get up here. If you anger Elder Thunder then you can forget about entering the demon beast sect." The king's expression was very unsightly as he warned his grandson with that stare. "Elder Thunder, this is my grandson Lin, he will surely not disappoint you this time." In response, the elder only made a frown because of that fat roundish boy. "Humph, for your sake, you better hope so. Son." Bairuo's heart was ringing with nervousness as her hands reached out again. Unfortunately for her, it was stopped by another hand in midair. "Are you not confident in our son? He's so outstanding, he can't fail." Showing a mild smile, Xuanhuan Crown Prince comforts his wife by pulling her in. Bairuo couldn't say more by point, she knew there's no excuse she can use now. Nevertheless, her eyes had never once left her son like if something horrible was about to occur. "If my son fails, then I." Chapter 265, Start of the Taming Session 3. No, my son Lin won't fail. The heavens had always been on his side, so there's no way he will disappoint. It was at this moment that Xuanhuan had come before the dragon. Despite his incessant fear of the serpent, the fatty persists and inched closer. "You see that, elder? I told you my grandson Lin will be fine." Xuanhuan King reveals a satisfied grin at the sight. Unlike the previous contenders, his grandson was the only one able to continue forward without devolving into a weeping mess. That alone gave the king hope and a sense of reassurance. Such courage, how many in this world can possibly compete with that? I am the ruler of the animals in this world." Despite the pompous statement, the voice was a muttering mess. "As a demon beast, it's only right that you follow my command. Don't worry, if you submit to me then I promise you I will feed you well and treat you well." The obnoxious statement only made the elder's forehead wrinkle even further. This fatty is so unpleasant, but if he can make the glass dragon submit then fine. If not. A glimpse of killing intent quickly flashed across the senior's pupil as he stared intently at the scene happening over there. "Hey, if you don't say anything then I'll take it as you agreeing." Getting no response whatsoever, Xuanhuan assumed it's an affirmation on the creature's part. However, just as the fatty was reaching over with his hand to touch the dragon, something unexpected occurred. Humph! A deafening howl suddenly blasted forth from the dragon's mouth, alarming everyone to this change. Those who were further away was still better off, only aching in their ears due to the loud bang, but the poor fatty wasn't so lucky. His body was literally sent flying outward due to the shockwave. Mother, he roared at me. As my servant, he actually dared to roar at me. The boy instinctively cries to his mother as the first reaction, leaving the entire palace square in a deadly silence for his demeanor. In this very second, the ears of the people could only hear that irritatingly voice of the fatty. As for Bai Ruo, the source of all this delusion and lie, the woman had collapsed to the ground by now due to losing her balance. There was no hope left in that ashen face, only desperation and fear in those eyes. Next, without giving a second glimpse to the failure, Elder Thunder orders the examination to continue. Impossible. This is impossible. Nangong Yi's crown prince's very voice was shaking there. There must be a mistake. Elder Thunder, please give my son Lin another chance. This time he will definitely tame this dragon. In response, the elder only snickered a laugh. Common rumors truly can't be trusted. Thankfully sect leader he is wise and had me bring along this glass dragon to test you people, otherwise I might have been fooled by you ignorant fools. Now what else do you have to say about that? Elder Thunder, I know my son is at fault for being careless. Please give him another chance, he will definitely succeed. Everyone knows it was my son who caused the animal worship incident, why did he fail? The man refuses to accept reality even now after what he saw. Elder Thunder, what my son Nangong Yi said is true. One attempt doesn't mean anything, please give my grandson another chance. Now the king too was pushing for another try. Humph. With a cold grunt, the elder didn't say more, which was the same as giving the go-ahead. Understanding this, Nangong Yuan King hurriedly winked at his grandson to go forward. What are you waiting for, Lin? Go now. You cannot fail, you understand. Still tearful in his eyes, Nangong Lin meekly nodded and walked forward again. Unlike last time though, his movement was gripped with fear in every stride. Humph. Not giving the fatty another chance, a tone-deafening roar had blasted out. It's perfectly clear the glass dragon was disgusted and angered by the act. Retreating a few steps due to his fear-stricken heart, Nangong Lin couldn't take it anymore and started to cry out in full force. Mother, father, take this dragon out for me. I want to whip him for roaring at me. From the minute Elder Thunder arrived here in the kingdom, the senior had always kept a calm and cool attitude, but against the child's outrageous demand, not even he could keep his demeanor in check anymore. It was a hearty laugh, a ridiculing and contemptible laugh at the foolish boy. What a real genius your kingdom has there. Not even our own sect leader would dare go provoke this glass dragon, yet this genius there wants to whip it. Did I hear it right, or does your kingdom's language have a different set of vocabulary? Chapter 266, Start of the Taming Session 4. The king's complexion was awfully white as he faced the elder. Elder Thunder, just because my grandson can't domesticate the dragon doesn't mean anything. On the day of said event, one of our kingdom's most respected fortune reader explained it's Lin who caused it. His words cannot be faked. Furthermore, who would dare lie to the royal family? That's a crime worthy of the death penalty across the clan. Smearing. The elder didn't buy it. You people really are ignorant, telling me the one who caused the miracle isn't capable of taming a single beast. If the child can't even do that, then why did the animals across the world bow down in worship that day? Nangong Yuan's king expression was ashen at the rebuke, but the vast majority of the children in our kingdom is basically here. If not my grandson Lin or the others here, who else then? Now that had stumped the elder indeed. Frowning, this senior could only issue out a sigh of frustration. Let the last child go take the test first. If it really won't work, then I want you to go search again. Maybe your people missed a few during the summoning. First looking at his grandson's miserable teary face, then back at his son and daughter-in-law's ghastly looks, the king finally bit his lips and agreed, all right, let the last one take the test then. Naturally, the mentioned last one would of course be by Xiakan, who was nestling in his mother's plentiful chest. Mother, I'm getting sleepy, can we come back tomorrow instead? Raising a smirk, Yan can already tell what his son was up to. It can't be that you are having second thoughts about that glass dragon, right? Is it because of its ugly appearance? Getting caught red-handed, Xiaocan admittedly spat out his tongue in guilt. I prefer beautiful friends like Little Rice and Little Feather. That glass dragon is too ugly, I don't want him. Twitching in her mouth, Xuanhuan almost couldn't believe her nephew's remark. Have you two ever thought about the dragon's feelings? Saying something like that in public is very hurtful. Besides, it's not his fault he's born ugly. Sister. Biting her lips, Ruo slowly walked over. Since Xiaocan is already here, then why don't you let him have a try? I cannot let only my son Lin be disgraced. This brat must follow suit. Looking up at the two-faced woman, Yan was a tad surprised by what she heard. You sure recovered quickly there. She knew Ruo was a shameless person to the core, but to recover this quickly after her son's failure. Now that's something Yan can honestly say she can't compete with. It's a whole different form of skill to control one's emotions so well. What an indestructible cockroach, they just won't die no matter how many times I stomp these people down. Going white, Ruo starts making excuses. I'm just looking out for you, am I not? Ruo, don't say any more. Mengongyi's face was very ugly right now. If our son Lin can't do it, then that Xiaocan most certainly can't. What's more, when the animal worship incident occurred, the kid wasn't even in the kingdom. It can't be him. Seeing the disdainful look coming his way, Xiaocan unconsciously tightened his hands into a tight ball. Showing a sly smile, his foxy nature was coming to show. Mother, I've thought it through. The glass dragon may be ugly, but it's still acceptable. Not giving anyone a chance to stop him, the baby boy had broken free from his mother's arm the moment he made his statement. However, instead of directly taming the dragon, his hands had fallen onto the lock binding the cage door in place. With a bang, the metallic device had fallen off. Oh crap! Elder Thunder was dismayed by the sight. Because of the urgency, the senior didn't even have time to think about how the baby boy managed to break the lock. Roar! Charging out of his confine using this opportunity, the glass dragon instantly soared into the sky and issued out a near-deafening roar. The common folks were all frightfully white in their faces, both at the oppressive might portrayed by the dragon and the massively scaled body that could overshadow the very sun in the sky. Chapter 267, Get down and stay there. Quickly stop it. We can't let the glass dragon get away. Thunderous in his voice, this Elder Thunder was fitting that name perfectly despite the desperation in that order. In a blink of an eye, the members of the demon beast sect had all unsheathed their weapons to take flight for the sky. Their intent was to envelop the dragon so it can't escape. This greatly irritated the creature naturally. Tired of living a life in captivity, there's no way the glass dragon was going to wait idly by to be captured again. Using his tail as the whip, it lashes out in a full circling sweep to knock the impudent humans back down. Darkening in his expression after witnessing the futility of his people, Elder Thunder knew he cannot hold back at this point. Without hesitation, he drew his weapon to confront the rampaging beast. Meanwhile, back on the ground, Ruo was very pleased by what she saw. Smickering a laugh. Oh sister, your son just made a huge blunder there. Indifferent to the taunting, Yan only smiled at her son in response. Xiaocan, once you're done playing then we're going home. Okay, I got it mother. Returning a beaming smile at the woman, the baby boy then shifts his head over to the ugly dragon in the air. Ugly thing, you are attacking the wrong person. It was already frightening enough for everyone as it was just by looking at the ferocious serpent, now this little twerp would go provoke it. Is this kid wrong in the head or is he tired of living? That's all the crowd could think of. Instead of the outrage like the crowd expected, the glass dragon only looked at Xiaocan before turning back to the members of the demon beast sect. Then without any sounds or howling roars, the dragon immediately ditched the pests around him for the fatty kid on the ground. Nangong Lin was truly scared now, so scared that he forgot to run even when the dragon opened up its jaws to gobble him up. Of course, the glass dragon wouldn't really swallow him, merely to scare the boy silly to the point where the fatty was a quibbling mess of snot and tears. Towards its achievement, the glass dragon was very pleased and even showed a pang of amusement in its serpenty eyes. The change didn't go unnoticed. Twitching in her mouth, Bai Yan now had a different outlook of this serpent. This glass dragon is a perverted sicko that likes to scare people for fun. Quick! Take advantage of this opening and capture the dragon. Wiping the sweat off of his forehead, Elder Thunder didn't know why the creature would suddenly turn tail for Nangonglin. However, he's not going to miss this opportunity when it presents itself. Seemingly aware of the annoying pests coming to bother him again, the dragon instantly returned to his ferocious self and issued out a vicious howl that was so powerful that it raised a mini hurricane. Because of the intense shockwave, the members of the demon beast sect were all blown heads over tails into the not so far off distance. This time Bai Xiaoqun was completely irritated now, not at the dragon for defending himself, but that the roar was so loud that it caused the dowager to faint as a result. Poor the old queen, she had only arrived on scene 2 and didn't even have time to figure out what's happening. Hey you, get over here this instant. Stabbing his fists against his waist, the little steam bun was very bossy and commanding. Who told you to roar just now? It's one thing you roared at others, but why did you have to drag in innocent Queen Granny? Going stiff in its movement, the glass dragon was no longer ramping around like its mighty self. Instead, it was eyeing the baby boy cautiously like it's nervous. Unrelenting, Bai Xiaoqun knocks his chin up and continues with his punishment. Get down on your knees now. If I don't tell you to get up then you can't. Originally everyone thought the little bully Nangonglin was already arrogant enough, but this Bai Xiaoqun was unexpectedly even worse. It's bordering on the line of insolence and madness. Who does he think he is to order the glass dragon around? Snickering a laugh, Nangongyi Crown Prince wanted to mock the boy for his audacity. However, whatever he wanted to say next was instantly shoved back into his throat over what occurred next. His face literally froze because of how unbelievable it was. From what used to be a ferocious serpent that would rampage across the field, the glass dragon was now an aggrieved little wife curling up into a ball behind the baby boy. What mighty dragon! What ferocious beast! There's not a hint of it left, more like a moping pet seeking forgiveness. By now Bai Yan had already come before the old queen to help. By feeding the old granny a dan pill of some kind, the dowager was luckily able to recover immediately. Unfortunately for this old queen, she didn't expect the first thing to come into her eyes was the massive dragon whimpering behind the baby boy. For a minute there, time had frozen over for these people, especially the old queen. Chapter 268, Reveal 1. How could it be him? How could the one to domesticate the glass dragon be him? Forget about Bai Ruo and her family, literally everyone else were not believing it either. But facts are facts, none can say otherwise, especially not when the dragon was acting like an obedient pet in front of the child. I don't believe it. Dashing out in madness, Nangongyi Crown Prince kept screaming the only truth he wants to see. Bai Xiaoqun is but a bastard child, a bastard. That's right. How can he allow a bastard child of unknown origin surpass his own son of noble background? However, just before the crazed man could get any closer there, the dragon had slashed over with its tail whip and sent the prince flying back out into the crowd. Roar! From those serpenty eyes a glint of ridicule could be discerned over the man's blindness and self-deceit. Towards that insult, how can Nangongyi not notice it when looking up at his attacker? Reflexively, he started to tremble as his fingernails pierced into his palm, causing blood to seep out. Those eyes of his could shoot fire if possible. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. By this point the members of the demon beast sect had also recovered from their initial shock. We finally found the destined child. Thank goodness, we didn't disappoint the leader's hope and wishes. Changing from his cool and relaxed demeanor, Elder Thunder was booming in his laughter when he came before the boy. I am the first elder of the demon beast sect, the name's Thunder. As the representative, I and the rest of my fellow peers pay our greetings to Sir Xiaoqun. Greetings to Sir Xiakan. The various members of the sect had also taken to their knees, their voices morally high over their success. While some were rejoicing over the scene, Bai Ruo wasn't so well off. Her shivering lips could hardly make out a single word. Why would it be Bai Xiakan? Even if the glory is taken away by another, it would still be far better than falling into Bai Xiakan's hands. He's but a bastard child of unknown origin, how can he deserve to get such prestige? Her heart was pained like 1,000 ants was constantly biting at it, unbearable and unstoppable. Using those bloodshot eyes, the woman hideously glared at the boy in question as if she could rip him apart with her will alone. Yet, it was at this second that Nangong Lin just had to tug at his mother's sleeve. The fatty's face clearly said he's not satisfied with the results. Mother, based on what can that bastard Bai Xiakan steal my slave? I want that dragon, snatch it back for me. You shut up for me. The king suddenly roared out from behind, interrupting the idiotic boy from going further with his nonsense. Livid in his expression, Nangong Yuan demanded answers. Someone explain what's this about. Wrinkling in his forehead, Elder Thunder didn't bother to hide his disapproval. This Nangong Yuan king is too uneducated. Using such a loud voice, what if he scares the destined child? By then sect leader he will definitely punish him for good. You want to know what's going on? Showing a faint smile, Bai Yan strolled towards her son and the serpent. There will be an answer for you in a bit. As she mentions the last part, Bai Yan's gaze inadvertently glances over to Bai Ruo's location. No, impossible. My maid Lu and that fortune reader is already dead, no one would know. Glass dragon, retracting her eyes back to the serpent lying on the ground, she turns stern in her demeanor. If you want to stay with us in the future then you must abide by my rules. First, you can't kill the innocent and without reason. 2. If someone ever call my son a bastard child then they will be your dinner tonight. And 3rd, you are not allowed to eat too much, I can't afford it. Chapter 269, Reveal 2. It's still understandable for the first 2 requirements, but what the heck was the last one about? Can't afford to feed it. Considering the income of the flower brothel, she would be able to raise 100 glass dragons easily. Miss Bai Yan, Elder Thunder's expression sank as he quickened his words. The senior didn't want things to south at this point. This glass dragon doesn't know how to recognize people. Even if you are Sir Xiakan's mother, it won't. Not getting the chance to finish his sentence, whatever the elder wanted to say was instantly shoved back down his throat. Whoa! Making a moping sound, the dragon cleverly uses its head to rub against Bai Yan's hand, indicating its submission and the fear inside those serpenty eyes. Yes, it's fear. When facing the woman, the glass dragon's demeanor was even more cautious than when facing the little steam bun. Unfortunately though, unlike Elder Thunder who had his keen senses, everyone else only took this scene as the dragon doing its part because of the mother and son relationship between Bai Yan and Bai Xiakan. Mother, sour in his nose, Nangong Lin Fatty was ready to cry again. I want that dragon, why is that bastard taking my dragon? Going deadly pale in her face, Bai Ruo can already see how increasingly ugly those from the demon beast sect was getting. Fearing things might spiral beyond return, she grabs at her son. Son, we're leaving now. No, I don't want to go. I want the glass dragon and I'm also going to be the little sect leader. I'm going to make Bai Xiakan get down on his knees to beg me for mercy. The fatty cries out with complete disregard for everyone and even pushed away his mother's hand. Maybe it's due to the loss of her son's glory, or maybe just embarrassed by her son's antics, but the woman immediately countered with a slap across the boy's face. Mother, you hit me. You actually hit me. Wow. I hate mother. Aggrieved by the lecturing hit, Nangong Lin's outburst grew even louder until it came a slobbering mess. For once in Bai Ruo's life, she had truly regretted her past acts of spoiling her son so much. Humph. Issuing out a cold grunt, Elder Thunder was satirical in his smirk. When did a useless trash become our little sect leader? How come I never heard of such a thing? Crown Prince, Crown Princess, how are you two going to explain this? Going stiff at the question, Nangongyi Crown Prince was a stuttering mess in his reply. This is only my son's wildish dream, nothing but a child's little play. Do you think I will believe that? He's but a child with hardly any knowledge or experience. If you people didn't keep saying it in front of him, then how would he know about the demon beast sect or the destined child matter? White in his usually handsome face, Nangongyi didn't answer the elder's interrogation. Instead, he shifts his gaze towards Bai Yan with his teeth gnashing. Bai Yan, at the very least we had a fling at one point. Are you really going to treat me like his? Before those words could even come to an end, a cold and sly voice had drifted over from the back. It was oppressive and hair-raising. When did my fiancé ever had a relationship with you? Startled by this, the crowd instinctively looked towards the sound and saw that dazzling silverfish figure having no qualms about pulling Bai Yan into his embrace. Oh Yan, your choices of taste sure is bad before. Good thing you've changed and didn't miss out on me. Such level of self-boasting was honestly a first for Bai Yan, and in front of so many people too. If my taste was that bad, then I'd rather poke my eyes out. She was serious and firm on that vow. Chapter 270, Revealed 3. This sentence very much pleased Daikang on all sorts of level, leaving his lips in a brilliant smile. Rest assured, your taste will never be bad. Their complete disregard for the crowd only made Nangongyi's crown prince expression ever more so ugly. Those eyes could literally spew flames of pure jealousy. Baddie father, blinking those big blue eyes, Bai Xiakan innocently asks, Mother said you are going to show me a good show. Where is it? No need to hurry, the show will come soon. Vague in his smile, Daikang was sharp in his eyes that striked fear into any who peered into it. This good show is also for the world to see. Gnashing his teeth, Nangongyi Crown Prince can't take it anymore. You people watch then. We're leaving Ruo. Okay. Ignoring her son's crying refusal, Bai Ruo forcibly pulls the fatty along. Unfortunately for the woman, those legs of hers didn't even make it past 2 steps before a gloomy voice snapped her in place. As the main characters of the show, who said you people can leave? Going stiff in her body, Bai Ruo couldn't explain why a sense of panic had gripped her heart after hearing that remark from behind. Sure enough, her worries were answered the next moment when a maid came walking over under the escort of 2 vigilant soldiers. The girls are radiating hatred at a certain crown princess. Lu. In the instant when Bai Ruo saw who it was, her expression had gone completely bleak, like life had been drained from her skin. How can it be you? How can? Is Crown Princess wondering why I'm still alive? The maid known as Lu smeared with ridicule in her tongue. I've done so many horrible things for you over the years, and now that you don't need me you want to remove me. This statement was like a heavy rod, heavily smashing away at the crowd's fragile mindset. Apart from those 5-year-old children summoned for the test, there are still many ministers of the court present. Their impression of the crown princess had always been the kind and gentle type, therefore it came as a huge surprise the maid would call Bai Ruo out. Knowing the situation will spiral out of control and harm the royal family's reputation at this rate, Nangongyi King couldn't sit idle anymore. Hurrying to signal his son with his eyes, the king wanted this matter to be resolved in private. Getting the hint, Nangongyi Crown Prince was ready to go help his wife when Daikang's chilly sneer drifted over. I am inviting you people to see the show. Who gave you permission to stop it halfway? Under that oppressive might, the prince was now horrified. His feet, he can't move them. Not even an inch. Taking this all in from the back, the king was now ready to collapse. He knows, after the truth becomes exposed, the reputation of the royal family will be destroyed. Continue. Daikang coldly swept his gaze over to the maid. Yes, complying, the maid was scathing with fury in each of her words. Years ago when the crown princess still haven't married the crown prince yet, I helped her do something. That something had shocked the kingdom and even made waves across the people. Taking to her knees before Bai Yan, the maid starts banging her head against the ground. I deserve to die for what I've done. I helped Second Miss frame you back then. Second Miss was jealous of you. He loathed you for your fortune of being able to marry into royalty. To quell that jealousy, that vicious woman had me buy a sex drug from the market to place in your drink. And to make sure you won't miss the mark, she also had me prepare a man ahead of time for you. What we didn't expect though was you getting away at the last moment. But since you were drugged, it was just a matter of time before you had to find a man to help resolve the effects. So, second miss, she had us look around for you. When we did, you were already a mess with your clothes scuffled and untied. End of the chapter. Adorable treasured fox divine Dr. Mother Overturning the Heavens will be read in 10 chapters for every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday and Sunday. Please leave this sound novel and press subscribe, follow, and the bell so you don't miss any new clips as well. See you.